You press the button. Cold air pours from the vents. That is the entire transaction. You never think about it again. But that button is a lie. It hides a machine doing something that feels like a violation of physics. The compressor under your hood does not make cold air. It makes heat. Intense, focused, deliberate heat. It takes refrigerant gas and squeezes it until the temperature climbs past 200 degrees Fahrenheit. The gas leaves that pump hotter than a boiling pot of water. This is the first impossible fact. The thing that cools your car begins by creating something scorching. To see why, forget everything you think heat is. Heat is nothing more than molecules in motion, and the harder they move, the hotter something gets. Squeeze a gas into a smaller and smaller space, and its molecules are forced to collide harder and faster. Pressure and heat are the same event seen from two angles. Compress hard enough, and a cool gas becomes a furnace, and that is the first thing your air conditioning does every single time. Two questions open here, and both must be answered before any of this makes sense. Why would a cooling machine begin with a furnace, and where does all that heat go? Follow the heat, and the entire system unlocks. Lose track of it, and you will never understand what happens when it breaks. That 200-degree gas has to escape somewhere. It rushes into the condenser, a thin grid of metal sitting at the very front of your car, just ahead of the radiator. Outside air pours across those fins as you drive. The heat drains out of the refrigerant and into the atmosphere on the street. Stripped of that heat, the gas collapses into a high-pressure liquid. But a warm liquid trapped in a tube is not cold air on your skin. Compressing a gas and cooling it back down has not chilled the inside of your car at all. Something still has to make cold. And this is where the trick actually lives. That is where the expansion valve comes in. The high-pressure liquid is forced through an opening barely wider than a needle. On the far side of that gap, the pressure that was crushing the refrigerant vanishes. And when pressure collapses that fast, temperature falls with it, straight down to -20 degrees Fahrenheit. In the space of a single inch, a warm liquid becomes something colder than a winter night. The cold finally has somewhere to do its work. The freezing refrigerant flows into the evaporator, a second grid of fins buried inside your dashboard. A fan drives the warm air of your cabin straight across those frozen fins. Watch exactly what happens in that instant. The heat in the cabin air leaps into the colder refrigerant, because heat always flows toward cold, and the air comes out the other side stripped of everything it carried. That is the cold on your face. It is not manufactured cold. It is your own cabin air with its heat torn out and left behind in the fins. And the refrigerant drinks so much heat that it does something remarkable. It boils. At -20 degrees, it turns from a liquid back into a gas. This phase change is not a side effect. It is the entire mechanism. Boiling a liquid swallows an enormous amount of energy, which is the same reason stepping out of a pool leaves you shivering in the sun, as the water pulls heat off your skin to evaporate. Then the gas flows back to the compressor, and the whole loop begins again. Every second your air conditioning runs, this cycle completes itself several times over. Here is the second impossible fact. Your car does not make cold air. It moves heat. It lifts the heat off your body, carries it through 4 components, and dumps it into the air in front of your bumper. The evaporator collects the heat. The condenser throws it away. The compressor is the pump that forces the whole transfer to happen, over and over, mile after mile. This exact loop has a name. Engineers call it the vapor compression cycle, and it runs the very same way inside your kitchen refrigerator and inside every building you have ever walked into on a burning hot day. A question should be forming by now. If that loop never stops turning, why does the cold air sometimes fade in and out while you sit still? Sit in slow traffic on a brutal day and you will feel it directly. The vents blow cold, then drift toward warm, then snap back to cold again. That rhythm is not the system failing. A low-pressure switch is watching the line. When the pressure drops past a set point, it opens a circuit, and a clutch releases the compressor so the pump spins free. Pressure settles, the switch closes, and the pump grabs hold again. This repeats every 5 to 45 seconds. It is not a malfunction. It is the system breathing, protecting itself from running too hard. But here is the trap buried inside that switch. It cannot measure how much refrigerant you actually have. It can only measure pressure. A low charge creates low pressure. A clogged expansion valve creates low pressure. A dying compressor creates low pressure. The switch cannot tell these three apart, so it does the only thing it can. It opens and it closes, and it stays silent about which disaster is unfolding. You sit in that traffic, the air fading in and out, and you decide the system is dying. You are right. But not for the reason you think. The compressor is not the villain. The refrigerant is not the villain. The villain is whatever stole the refrigerant, and that thief is almost always a leak. Refrigerant molecules are tiny, and the system holds them under crushing pressure for years. They escape through hardened rubber hoses, through aging seals, through hairline cracks you will never see, and leaks do not stay small. To understand why a slow leak is so dangerous, go back to the heart of the system. The compressor is the only part with violent metal moving inside it, sealing and spinning thousands of times a minute. When refrigerant escapes, it carries away the oil that keeps that metal alive. Run the pump starved of oil, and it does not fail quietly. It fails like a heart attack. Bearings score. Pistons gall. Metal fragments shear off inside the housing. And those fragments do not stay where they were born. They ride the refrigerant stream into every line in the system. They lodge in the condenser. They clog the expansion valve. They score the evaporator core hidden deep in your dashboard. What started as a $1,200 compressor replacement becomes a $3,500 nightmare. One ignored leak turns into shrapnel that poisons every component the loop can reach. There is one more truth about that compressor, and it decides how your entire car drives. For 100 years, it was chained directly to the engine. A belt loops around the crankshaft and spins the pump. That chain makes the compressor a parasite. Every turn of that pulley steals power from the engine, and stolen power burns extra fuel. It also makes your cooling a hostage to engine speed. Idle at a red light and the pump barely turns, so the cabin stays warm until the light goes green and the engine wakes back up. That is where the electric compressor comes in. It severs the belt completely and runs on high-voltage direct current straight from the battery, anywhere from 200 to 800 volts depending on the vehicle. It no longer cares what the engine is doing. It runs with the engine switched off. It spins at full power while you sit dead still at that same red light, and the cabin reaches temperature in under 5 minutes, while the old belt-driven system needs more than 10. But every fix in this machine opens a new danger, and this one bites hard. Inside that electric compressor spins a permanent magnet synchronous motor, turning faster than 8,000 revolutions per minute, soaked in refrigerant and oil. That oil cannot be ordinary oil. It must be a special, highly insulating polyester formulation, because the motor is live with hundreds of volts and the oil is touching it. Put the wrong oil in and it carries electricity where nothing should ever conduct. The motor short circuits, the compressor dies on the spot, and the repair climbs past $2,000. And in a hybrid or a fully electric car, this pump does far more than cool your face. It also cools the battery pack that moves the entire vehicle. If it fails there, the battery has no way to shed its own heat. The temperature climbs into the danger zone, the car shuts itself down to survive, and you are not driving home that day. Go back to that button on your dashboard one last time. You press it, cold air pours from the vents, and it still feels like the simplest thing in the world. But you know what it truly is now. You know that cold is just your own air, with its heat ripped out and hauled to the front of the car. You know the machine has to start with a furnace to end with frost. You know why the air breathes in traffic, why a pinhole leak can destroy an entire system, and why the pump under your hood is the most violent, the most fragile, and the most honest part of the whole story. The button was never a lie. You simply know, at last, exactly what it was hiding.